Ladies and gentlemen, if you see this, we will be starting in 1 second.
I'm sat here, I like lost.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, oh, what's happening? What is this? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast pre-game episode. Of course, I'm Ray. This is Matt. We're sitting here. We're sitting here at the Yard Bar.
Yeah.
Steve Freeman, he allowed us to come out to his Yard Bar. Of course, he does all of our graphic work. So that amazing image you see for Halloween, he did that for us. And of course, he does all the artwork for our good friend David Gilbert, his novels. And speaking of David Gilbert, right quick, we're going to shout out his new novel, Persistence of the Dam. You can see it right here. D.A. Gilbert, artwork done by Stephen Freeman. Make sure you pick this up. I believe it's available in stores now. Make sure you find it. And of course, don't forget about his original novel that he wrote, A Serpent's Love. Make sure you go and pick those up. Amazing books, amazing writer. And of course, Steve Freeman is an amazing author. If you need anything done, make sure you go to him and contact him and he'll do it all for you. And I mean, just take a look at all this that's going on here. Like, this is amazing. Like, this whole lot of man that's right here. But I mean, like, we have Steve, he did all this himself. Like, you won't even believe like all the work he's put into this. So you can see it in everything he does, the artwork that he does, this outside bar, and of course, we're coming to you exclusively on YouTube. YouTube is now the official live home of the Happy Hour podcast. We're going to be doing bonus episodes. We're going to be doing everything you can possibly imagine, only exclusively on YouTube. And, this is our extended episode. We always say, for everybody listening at home, they're not seeing any of this. That will start once Randy Edelman comes in. Randy Edelman will be joining us in about 35 minutes or so. The games have gotten a little bit better. And real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about our new series that we're going to be doing after the beginning of the year. It's called the Happy Hour Podcast Roundtable. And a lot of people have been telling me to kind of do like a roundtable type format for the show. So pretty much what it's going to be, I'm probably going to have a logo done up, and I have this little idea. It's a round table with the logo burned into the table, beer pong in the background with a cup knocked over and someone passed out on the table, throwing up all over the table. And
please don't make it be me.
And pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to get together guests who have a lot in common about each other, like wrestlers. Like, for example, we're going to try to get Bob Starr, Chad Olson, Al Snow, get all of them together all in one place, all at one time, and basically just talk. And that's going to go hand in hand with another series we're going to have a little bit later on down the road called Strange Bedfellows. And pretty much what that'll be two people who have absolutely nothing in common that we're going to put together. Like, for example, our friend Nick Benson, who does all the horror special effects stuff, and maybe someone like Lauren Phillips, who's an adult film star, who have absolutely nothing in common at all. And we're going to put them together in the same place at the same time. And we're going to see how that works out. And of course, we're here exclusively on YouTube. And Matt, like, honestly, man, what's been going on? Like, of course, last week we were live, and now we're live on YouTube. This is our exclusive bonus content. Randy Edelman, composer. What have you had any discussions? Of course, you were just showing me a picture of your son who wanted to dye his hair pink.
Yeah.
And so his hair is now dyed pink. And like, what do they want to do for Halloween?
It's fine. I don't care that it's pink hair. It doesn't bother me. It's a little strange.
It's a little. So my son's a little strange.
Yeah, but he's starting to do that. He's starting soccer now. So it's kind of all those athletes and shit. They do weird stuff there all the time. So he just decided he wanted pink hair because he saw his sister had pink hair, and I was like, it's fine. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh, so, yeah. That makes sense.
Why not, man? Go ahead.
And of course, for those of you watching, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. It will let you know every single time we go live. And of course, as we're sitting here, you talked about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That is our vintage Breast Cancer Awareness Month t-shirt from last year. Matt is wearing that. Of course, we have a new one that Steve Freeman did for us, the 2021 version, which is also available on the Happy Hour podcast, the hhpod.com. This is last year's 4th of July shirt. So make sure you go out, buy the merchandise. or else we're just gonna have to track you down and tear your balls off and put them in your throat. And speaking of which, like we're at Steve's Yard Bar, and I was just so unbelievably amused by the outside bathroom he has. I've never seen anything like that. Right? He pretty much built an outside bathroom. I haven't
used it yet, but I'm sure I will be.
It has it has 2 little wooden doors on it, and it's kind of like you go in, and it's kind of like a little like porta potty. Yeah, and it's like a saloon type doors and all that. I walked in, and of course I'm a very large man. Like I have a very large stature. Like Matt, you'll fit in that with no problem. But I kind of walk in, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I can turn around in this. Like, what's happening? But yeah, so it's definitely great. We're gonna try to come live a little bit more here in the future. Of course, I just went out and got a bunch of brand new equipment, which is helping out. I know a lot of people have told us, it looks like you're looking up. So now we have it to where the webcam is facing right towards us so we can see everything that's going on.
The picture is much clearer. Yeah, I've never looked this fucking sexy in my life.
Yes, Matt is coming in very sexy right now. And maybe right here, YouTube may flag it. Not as easy as Facebook, of course. We are no longer on Facebook Live. Facebook Live isn't going to happen. Of course, I have expressed my anger with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg before, because the whole thing is I lost access to my one profile. They don't even have a customer service department. So with a company that doesn't even have a fucking customer service department, how in the fuck do you expect me to go live on that? So, but also it saves me a little bit of editing. So Mark Zuckerberg, you can be a lizard on your own time and just do whatever you want to do on Facebook, because we're now exclusively YouTube, baby. So yeah, so YouTube Live every single week. And of course, that's kind of interesting within itself, is that Mark Zuckerberg just lost $7 billion in one day. That's insane.
Not to him, it's probably not though.
Well, it's probably like pennies, but for you to lose $7 billion in one day, like, and you know what it is, like, pretty much he was getting rid of evidence like Casey Anthony was getting rid of evidence. Like the whole thing is he needs to go to court, and it's like I could see if Facebook went down or WhatsApp went down or Instagram went down, everything went down at one time. So pretty much Zuckerberg was sitting there like, how can I get away with this? Well, how can I be like Casey Anthony and get a non-guilty verdict when everybody knows I'm guilty?
Well, look, here's one thing, and it's with a lot of things nowadays. And I'm going to try not to get flagged, so I'm not going to mention any politics or anything like that. But these guys don't even seem to be very good liars anymore either.
Yeah.
When they're interrogated or asked any questions, they're just like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like you're lying, right?
Yeah.
You're just lying. No, it's not a lie. No, you're lying. It's just like, yeah, I guess so.
You, sir, are a liar.
And you're sitting there like, really?
Yeah.
How are you not behind bars?
It's the whole what the hell was the movie? It's the whole I want the truth. You can't handle the truth type. What the hell was? Oh man, I can't remember. But anyways, we're gonna move on from the Lizard Nation. Because we don't want to talk about serpent people here on the Happy Hour podcast. But our guest Randy Edelman, of course, he's a composer, and one of the movies he did music for was Ghostbusters 2. And of course, we haven't had a real legit Ghostbusters in years. We had that woman, the one that was remade with the women, which it wasn't bad, but to me, it didn't feel like it was Ghostbusters. This one, with a lot of the original crew coming back, is going to be cool, but it's also going to intrigue me on how they do it with Egon not being there, on how they're going to, play off. And I believe it's Egon's granddaughter who finds all the shit in a barn. And then,
granddaughter or grandson?
I don't know if it's daughter. I don't know. It's very questionable.
But no, it looks a lot better because it looks more like an actual sequel to.
Yeah. And
the Ghostbusters. I know they're gonna try to make their own mark with it and all that stuff, but it seems like it's a better route. The better route that I would have taken, other than the other one that they recently made, which in its own, sure, it was okay, but this one seems more Ghostbuster like.
Oh, more Ghostbustery. And I mean, that's the thing, like, and that's one thing I'm intrigued with Randy Edelman. It's like, when you're a music composer, what goes into, do you have to, watch the movie first? Like, I mean, I don't know how a lot of that kind of stuff works. just like he did music for Last of the Mohicans. So, and I mean, that's
right.
The thing.
Well, I think they collaborate with the screenwriters and the producer, and I guess they throw in a little tune or like this, and they're just like, yes, I love it. Yeah, it's great. And they just throw it in there like, oh,
And of course, we're live, baby. We're live. And of course, make sure everybody, if you're seeing this, make sure you go to our YouTube page. It is live on our YouTube page. It will not pop on our Facebook anymore. Lizard Man will not get our live feeds anymore. Make sure you click on our link, youtube.com/Happy Hour TV MD. That is the old YouTube we had for the Happy Hour TV show that we had, which evolved into the Happy Hour
was
podcast.
It still there? You just had to add on to it.
It's still there. It never came down. It still had all the old Happy Hour TV stuff on it. So when we started the podcast, I was like, well, we already have a couple followers on this, and it already had the Jesse Jane episode that had about almost 100,000 views on it, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep this YouTube instead of starting a new one. So it was a lot easier than jumping through the hoops of doing that. And of course, spooky season is going to keep on rolling along. Now that we're doing the YouTube thing, as I said, we're going to be doing a lot more of exclusive stuff. So next week, we're going to have 2 episodes. We're going to have a bonus episode and a regular episode. Of course, our regular episode will be next Sunday, the 17th, with Soho Johnny, who's a producer, a composer, promoter, jack of all trades in that kind of field. Shout out to Elaine Shapiro. She's getting us all of our guests, in the past. So she hooked us up with Randy Edelman, of course, Soho Johnny. But on the 15th, which is Friday night, we will have on Bill Hartley. Bill Hartley is local ghost hunter here in Maryland. He may best be known for Ghost of Shepherdstown from Destination America. So he will be joining us live on YouTube Live and on the regularly scheduled program. And our very special guest co-host for that will be the one and only Vincent Painter, who's one of the very good friends of the show also. And, last time we saw him, I remember one of the first things Matt said to him was, man, you should have brought some Scooby snacks. And of course, Vince works for Chesapeake Apothecary, which is a marijuana dispensary. So maybe one day we will air live from there. I'm not sure what exactly will happen. It'll probably be just us making a bunch of noise and clicking our voices and all that. But, but we may figure out the mystery of the lizard people like that, because I'm pretty sure that if we air from there, some unworldly shit will happen 100% from there. So,
but no, seriously, he does need to bring some of that Scooby snacks.
Yes,
I think he thinks I'm joking. Every time I'm like, yeah, dude, like, no, I'm serious. Like, where's that shit at? So yeah, Friday if I'm there, I'm definitely gonna ask him again. Like, where's the Scooby snacks, man?
Yeah,
he talks very highly of it. So
yeah,
I need to get my hands or my lungs at least on them.
He definitely does. And of course, later on, and of course, now that we're doing more content and more stuff exclusively for YouTube, we've said the roundtable stuff. I want to get in the habit of having a little bit more of special guest co-hosts. Of course, we're doing Vince. I would love to have Dave back on the show. Talk about his books again. Just all kinds of stuff going on. We're almost through. Of course, we're refeaturing a lot of our beer. We're almost through a lot of the beer, so we're going to be having new beer soon that we're going to be featuring again. And also tonight, we get to debut the Metallica whiskey.
Oh yeah,
which I have been looking forward to. And of course, in case you haven't had it, it's called Blackened. This is the Metallica whiskey right here. This we will be trying live when we were on Randy Edelman on our regularly scheduled time at 4 o'clock. Of course, this is all bonus footage.
I've heard mixed feelings about it from other people who have had
it.
Okay. But I'm still intrigued by it. I don't care.
And of course, shout out to Sherry Nelson. Sherry Nelson was kind enough to send us that whiskey. We brought up to her that, we wanted to try it. And of course, Metallica just released their the new Black album, the tribute album. So, really? It's a great time. All these other artists, Miley Cyrus, all kinds of people have done tribute songs to Metallica on that album. So that should be, their Miley own Cyrus renditions. Yes, some of the renditions are terrible, but I know Ghost did a version of one of the songs too, which I'm not really a big fan of it. I forgot what they did, but they did one of the Metallica's more least known
Hold up.
songs. Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, like
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
She was on the album. Like,
Yes.
singing and
Yeah,
shit?
like most of them did Nothing Else Matters or The Unforgiven. So, but a little bit of everybody and anybody is on that, anniversary album for the Black Album, for Metallica that came out. So make sure you go out and try that. And funny story with it, shit never goes right with the show. Never, ever.
No.
So I go to pull this out of my freezer and I look at the bottle. And if you see it on the camera, you look at the bottle and you're just kind of like, that's not full.
Mhm.
We have not opened this bottle. We have not tried it. I'm like, that is not full. So the label was ripped a little bit. So I guess maybe during transport, it must have got fucked up. And when you look, this part comes off. That's supposed to be connected to that cork. So, the cork, you can pull the cork out. The cork comes out fine. Actually, it was coming out fine earlier. It's not
I'm
now.
not trying to just.
So, but
You
know,
get this cork out.
I was able to screw it out earlier when it was cold, but there we go. You just twist it. You twist it and boom. There you go. So that cork just pops right out.
That's all.
But some of it leaked into my freezer. So now,
That sounds good.
yeah. Let me I wonder if they number all the batches because that says batch 99. So I wonder if they number each batch that they do for each one. So so later on tonight, we will be trying that. Of course, Randy Edelman will be joining us probably in about 15 minutes or so. He will be connecting it with us right here on Zoom, live via YouTube. I got so used to saying Facebook, but we are here live on YouTube. So I don't know if anybody's currently joining us, but of course, the chat is live. Make sure you talk with us in the chat, say hello and all that fun stuff. So,
This is really nice, man.
and once again, what I will do is I will go through and explain, hey, we are live on, YouTube live on the Facebook and all that fun stuff. And that way people know where to go and where to tune in.
Yeah.
So
No,
here.
if they're watching me live, they
Yeah.
probably see me like freaking out. I'm not really freaking out.
Well, I don't
It's like,
think it's
I'm
as
taking
bad
all this in.
as you were freaking out when we were driving home. Of course, that bonus episode, the long drive home,
Oh yeah.
is on our and dude,
What I
like
can remember was pretty
you were
exciting.
so blitzed in the back. Like it's insane.
Still
Like
can't find that barn, man.
well,
I don't know where it kept coming from.
I'm still thrown off about the guys who stole all the sauce. Like that's just completely insane. Like that they stole all the sauce out of there. And this dude had like 8 pounds of sauce in his arms, just rolling
I think
out.
It was like going to smuggle it across the border.
Yeah. But because he was Mexican,
Well,
so he was going to smuggle it across the border.
You
That's
can say
just
what you
that's
want,
the way it
but,
works,
I mean, if you look like you're a cartel,
yeah.
you're probably cartel.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say
Okay.
it.
If you look like you're the cartel, you're probably the cartel. That's
I mean, I don't
That's
think you're
right.
gonna be smuggling freaking hot sauce through the border, but hey, who knows?
well, if you were to smuggle hot sauce at that point, like how a lot of times guys will get pulled over, they'll get caught with drugs. They're not supposed to have the drugs. So what they'll do is they'll hide the drugs in their ass. So at that point,
I
like,
don't know.
like,
I know
if-
where you're going.
if you're not supposed to be smuggling hot sauce, do you shove the Taco Bell hot sauce packages up your ass?
Diablo
Because-
hot sauce.
Because
up your
that's the
ass.
thing. It's like
Nice.
you shove the Diablo hot sauce up your ass, but what happens if the package explodes?
I mean,
like,
that's bound to happen.
Yeah, at that point, like you're gonna have Diablo fire shits for like
Diablo
at least
ass
like
sauce.
a month.
I mean,
So-
even after I eat Taco Bell, that's usually what happens. But wow.
Yeah. Like just imagine that. Like they cross the border and they're like,
Well-
you're not like they don't even worry about the cocaine.
Right.
Like it's like fuck the cocaine. Like you son of a bitch, you have all the hot sauce. Like that hot
All
sauce.
that hot
It's
sauce,
kind
man.
of
Diablo hot sauce.
Did I ever tell you about this? When me and Jess got married, she's gonna kill me. I never remember the kind of flower that we had for the wedding, but it's her favorite kind of flower. She has a tattoo on her arm, and we ordered the flowers.
What, the
And-
black-eyed Susan?
No, I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. She'll kill me if she sees this. But anyways, we ordered the
I always
flowers,
saw that for the
and we had to order them twice. Because what happened is the first time they got lost, okay, whatever, so they replaced them. The second time when they came in, now they're being imported from another country. So they can import it, and they had a bug on them that is not native to America.
Yeah. And
So what they did is they burned the flowers at the airport. They burned the fucking flowers at the airport. So they had to call my wife and go, hey, the second batch of flowers aren't going to make it either because they had a bug on them that, you know,
isn't pretty intense.
Yeah, like
I never, you never told me this.
Yeah. And they were talking about shout out to 98 Rock. They were talking about 98 Rock not too long ago that there was this, I think it was a bird. There was a bird that escaped from like some sort of thing and it ended up on a boat and it ended up in Australia. And the bird's in Australia and the Australian government's like, kill this fucking bird right now because it came from America. And we all know that Americans, you know, screw that. Kill this fucking bird. We're not having it give us any kind of American diseases or whatever. Yeah, they fucking killed it. They're just like, boom, dead. Like, yeah. So they like
surprised they didn't like mate with all the other birds and there's some sort of fucking uprising.
Took
over the Australian government. And that's what we're seeing now today. Holy shit.
By the way, did you know?
Wow.
Jess sent me.
That's really what's going on over there.
She told me send this TikTok to Matt.
There's a fucking bird.
There's a TikTok that she sent me, and actually, I'll find the TikTok right here. So let me pull the TikTok up. There's a TikTok that she sent me.
It is.
That
they're
that
hiding. Hold on.
She wanted me to show it to you.
Very careful what I say about the vaccinations and stuff. But that's really not what's going on over there. It was that fucking bird, and now everybody's in this uproar about this fucking bird. They're burning the government to the ground.
Look, so I'm going to show you this video. You can watch it here live on YouTube. But you know how you like your little seagull friends?
Oh my god, dude!
No.
I've already saw this.
Watch the video.
Seagulls are the feathery ancient price, not prepared to make you a problem. First, we gotta acknowledge the fact that a seagull's diet plan is really just anything that fits down their garbage chute.
It's about seagulls.
This includes rabbits, other birds like pigeons, starlings, and baby ducks. Some British seagulls have even started spawn wiping their own chicks by swallowing their children whole. And some have even gone as far as to start attacking and murking sheep. Yes.
Seagulls kill sheep.
There's also the minor fact that seagulls have started seeking out baby fur seals just so they can rip their eyeballs out.
They rip eyeballs out of
blinding the newborn seal. The seagull proceeds to eat it alive, often starting with the most sensitive spots. Air bunnies will even rip the blubber off the backs of baby southern right whales when they service.
I mean, I would have shot that fucker too.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. Like we always have the conversation that, and I mean, it went as far as like they can pick up small dogs, and Jess told me to send you that video because she's like, oh, the seagull.
No,
and it's like not only do they forget a face, but they're not going to forget the face as they're tearing it off. Like that's.
It's funny that she said that she's going to send that to me. That I've already seen that video, so she knows me all too well.
Yeah,
but if she would have known me very well, I would have already seen that video, and I have, in fact.
Yes.
Someone showed it. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, and I mean, you know, of course, that creator that made that video, he's awesome. I love all of his videos. Like he always saw, and he hates hippos. Like he always shits on hippos or whatever.
Hippos?
Like, hippos are terrible. However, baby hippos, I will say this: baby hippos are absolutely adorable.
They are
like,
cute, yes. But hippos are very deadly. Over in Africa, they're one of the highest killing I don't know.
They're killing machines.
Yeah, basically.
They're killing machines. Like that's the thing.
You're more likely to kill by a hippo than hit by like a car or something.
Oh yeah,
something wild
that's
like that.
crazy.
Have you ever seen those videos where they like chomp down those watermelons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they Gallagher, like that. They Gallagher those fucking watermelons. Like that's the whole thing. Like you think Gallagher hitting a watermelon with a sledgehammer is one thing? No. Watch a hippo eat a watermelon.
I'd rather get mauled by the tiger than fucking. I don't know. At least I know with the hippo, it's going to be mercy. It's going to be over in the instant. Done. Just every bone in my body is just shattered. From those jaws.
Just completely killed, completely annihilated, and completely destroyed. And I mean that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, oh man, like so.
But I still find that very interesting that they killed that bird. But it's so funny because I've never worked border patrol or anything, but I know that some places are that are very weird about certain like bugs, certain species that you got to be like really in tune. Like how do you even do like this is this bird, so we got to kill it. Well, what if it's not that bird?
See, here's the thing: we got to kill this bird, but just imagine this now. Now that we brought all this up, imagine a seagull and a hippo going one-on-one. Like this is like Mortal Kombat type shit right now. It's like, seagulls that can swallow a fucking rabbit whole versus hippo
Rabbit.
a hippo that can, chomp down on a watermelon like Gallagher
Still
smacks
gonna
a
probably
watermelon.
take the hippo. I
Yeah,
mean,
like,
I don't know, because the seabird takes out the seagull takes out his fucking eyes. I don't know, man.
You got to also add in Free Willy too. Like fucking killer whales are like the bullies of the sea. Like they don't eat their food. They fucking like play with it.
Dude,
like
I've
they
seen
throw
it.
seals in the air and like throw it back and forth. Like smack them around with their tails and shit. And it's like, people always say, hey, don't play with your food. And it's like, they're definitely playing with their food. Like, like my wife literally is like, fuck the movie Free Willy. Like, I hate killer whales because they kill seals.
See, look,
like,
and I don't know, this earth, this world, and it's just insane to me. I don't know how anyone feels about aliens out there, whether you believe it or not, but that's more reason if you're an alien species from like an extra from out of this world.
Yeah.
You just fly by and you're like, nah, fuck that place.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
Like,
it's
just like a killing machine.
They're
just killing everyone. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like the humans are killing the hippos, like they're and just fuck that shit. I ain't going there.
Yeah. I mean,
wouldn't.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like they're murder. Oh, that's what it is. He calls hippos murder horses. That's what it is. He calls them murder horses, and that's the thing. And it's like, you just sit there, and it's like, you can be absolutely just plowed down by a motor horse or by a murder horse, and that's just like, dude. Like it's absolutely, and of course, we were.
Why didn't they do that back in the fucking medieval times? Like I would have definitely rode a hippo instead of a fucking horse. I mean, could you imagine everyone be running in fear of this fucking man riding a fucking hippo with fucking jaws chomping everyone down?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you wouldn't even have to swing your sword. Like, it's meeting time. It's like hungry hippos on the army field.
Yeah.
Got you, motherfucker.
No, you know what? We should get a gang of hippos together. Gang of hippos and put a bunch of watermelons in the middle and watch them just like hungry hippos. Like just imagine.
That would be pretty insane.
Yeah. Or you just get a bunch of innocent rabbits, like baby bunnies, and you just let a flock of seagulls just swoop down on them and just watch the chaos as it ensues. Like it would probably break my heart, but just seeing the chaos of that would just, like there was a guy I knew that used to do
borderline psychotic.
There's a guy that I used to know that used to do some of my tattoo work, and I was in a car with him, and he saw a bunch of seagulls in a parking lot, and he literally sped up towards the seagulls and ran them over in his SUV. And he's like, you can just feel their bodies under the tires, and I'm just kind of like, what kind of sick son of a bitch are you? Like, you're running over like 1,000 seagulls with your SUV.
And they never forget a face.
Yeah, they never. So if they can pluck out, and I never liked seagulls to begin with, because there was one time in Annapolis, Maryland, I was walking down there with my mom, and I've always been a fat kid, so I love hot dogs. I love myself some hot dogs. So we get the hot dogs, and the seagull just swoops down out of the air, and the seagull just sits there and he grabs the hot dog and he slurps this thing down like Lauren Phillips taking a cock, like just slurps it down his throat, and just gone. And then he just swoops off into the night, just vanishes, just boom, gone, like a thief in the night.
Done that too.
Yeah. And of course, Randy Edelman is in the room. We're gonna go ahead and admit him, and then we are gonna go live on YouTube Live. So we're going to go ahead and admit him, and then we will start our regular program. Of course, this will conclude our bonus content, the Happy Hour podcast pregame, exclusively here on YouTube Live. And for those of you hanging around, we will be starting our regular scheduled program in a few minutes.
Figure out how to open it.
Yeah, you got to figure out how to open a cooler.
Child next 3 beers.
Somewhat of a break. So, but
I was trying to find a Facebook live link. I can't find it. To be able to send it to everyone in Messenger. That's usually how everyone gets into it faster.
Okay.
So everyone we send it from Messenger. So now I'm like sending it YouTube and Messenger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Normally you can go in there and you can call, type,
yeah,
interact.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
So are you guys not doing that, or is it?
Yeah, the Facebook thing, we're not going to do that anymore, because since Facebook went down, we don't want to risk having it on Facebook. And plus,
You can't do them both at the same time in case it went down.
it's hard. I need to download an app for that.
Okay.
So, but
Maybe there's a way you can restream it live later.
Oh yeah. That is cool. I think that's
About it.
Oh yeah, it's a piano.
That's live, baby. No pedal, nothing. You don't get that fucking shit from anybody, man.
How
Okay,
you doing,
let's
man?
get going. Let's go. And there's a great football game on, and I'm missing because of you.
and
Seriously.
Right before we go live, what I want to make sure I pronounce your name right. Is it Edelman or Edelman?
What do you think?
I think it's Edelman.
You got it, baby.
Awesome.
And I would have kicked your fucking butt if you said that, Edelman.
And of course, we're going to roll right into our live program.
Yeah, we're going.
Everybody,
go.
We're on YouTube Live. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Happy Hour Podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here with Matt. We are live in the outside yard bar for our good graphic designer, Steve Freeman. He is letting us air live from his bar tonight. And of course, we are live with Randy Edelman. Randy Edelman is joining us via Zoom right here on YouTube Live. Randy, you got a new song coming out, a new single. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that single that you have coming out?
Okay, not too much to say, except it's the first time in 20 years or something I've written a song and recorded, because I've been just scoring films happily. But seriously, it's called Coming Out the Other Side. It's really called, the real title of it is Grab Your Hat, Put Your Best Suit On. It's about being locked up, you know, for this year, and then getting ready, hopefully, to go out and return to normal. It's a fun thing. It's not some kind of message thing. And if you've listened to it, which you should have, my friends, you will see it's a fun thing. But I had a blast doing it. And as I said, it's been years since I've gone into that side of what I used to do.
And how and why was there such a hiatus with going on that side over a 20-year span? Was there anything in particular, or were you just focusing on another?
Excuse me. Have you done your homework?
Somewhat. Normally we just kind of call it on the fly.
Oh no. Okay. Do you see what I've been doing?
No.
Oh, do you see? Okay. No. Oh boy, you know what? You want me to close this off now and go back to my football game? I've been scoring movies, my friend, back to back, big movies. Yes. Oh yeah, that takes a little bit of time, like 24/7, 7 days a week for 20. You know, that's the reason. But you've already now uncovered yourself. You know that you're sitting there in Steve Freeman's truck or whatever you're in there, and you guys are blowing it big time. So start talking, because you're gonna have to cover your tracks now. What are you gonna ask me a lot of questions? Because I won't explain shit.
And of course, you took part in Ghostbusters too. And
oh my God, yeah, 32 fucking years ago, my friend.
With Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and so they just released. Yes, Sony Classical just released my orchestral score to that. That's a whole story. We could talk this whole time just about that, but that would let your ass off the line, because that's all you would talk about. So, you just hit on one little thing. It's actually a big deal. It's a very long story of why it took that long. And I'm sure you'd like to tell you every aspect of it, so that way you don't expose yourself.
I mean, whatever you can give us on that.
Have you ever had anybody to put you on the line like this? We're not live or anything, are we?
No, we're live. We're live on YouTube.
I know it. I'm joking. You don't understand who you're dealing with here. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, too long a story. Ghostbusters 2, the sequel to Ghostbusters, took many years to put together because everybody wanted too much money. I wasn't involved or even scoring films when they made the first one. But when I got around to it, it was many years later. And of course, every hip hop artist, R&B artist in the business had already wanted to get the quote new Ghostbusters song. It wasn't going to be called Ghostbusters, it was something else. And so when I did the score, everybody had, made it wasn't songs, they were finished records, because the music business had changed in those years. So, things were different. And of course, the movie ended up basically using my score for 95% of it. And they had a song or two in there. But then when the movie came out, it was a very kind of political thing. They wanted to release all these songs that were only in the end credits when people were leaving the movie and going to their car in the fucking parking lot.
Really?
You know, that's when, yeah. And so that's what happened. And so my score, which was the music of the movie, never got released. And here we are 32 years later after I do, you know, but at the time I was just getting into it. So I wasn't such a big shot. Obviously, I'm not a big shot now because you don't know the first fucking thing about me. It seems to me, you know, but anyway, that's a little bit of that story. So finally, after many years, I put this together and it came out. It's a brilliant thing, absolutely brilliant, if I do say so myself. But it's not something that was that big a deal to me because I've done so many things in the last few years, which you don't know about. It wasn't that big a deal to me, but I'm happy that they finally got it together.
And with that, with comparisons for some of the other movies you've scored for, Last of the Mohicans, and even up to some of the most recent ones, how is every, and of course you said it's a 24-hour thing. So with that, is every single one different? Or do you kind of go into it and you know what needs to happen? And it intrigues me with the music based off the movies. Do you get a script and you kind of read through it, and that's how you develop?
Okay. So let me. So this is good stuff because you can kind of skate a little here. You can, and it's a good. By the way, I'm having a good time, and you will too. So let me answer you directly. So the answer is no. Every movie is completely different.
Okay.
Completely different cast of characters, obviously completely different subject matter. No, you don't read a script. A script means absolutely shit.
Okay.
You got to see a movie shot. You have to see the characters, the style, the images, the way it looks. You can read a script. At the beginning when I did this, I tried to, but it doesn't work because you end up throwing it. Then you get some, like, you read a script and you say, "Oh, it's a mystery, it's a comedy," and you get an idea in your head, but then you get stuck on that, and that doesn't serve you well when the director walks through the door and you have a very limited amount of time, which is what you do on these things, to write. And so it's best that you wait till you see what it is, because you're only going to end up throwing what you had in mind out, because what you had in mind doesn't mean a damn thing until you see something, and by the way, I'm giving a general thing. Could there be one or two times when there's something different? Or yeah, of course, there's always, but for the most part, you wait till you see the movie, and then you're under the gun, and like I said, it's a 24/7 thing. You kind of live the movie. And no matter what it is, and I've obviously, not obvious to you, obviously, but I've done so many different kinds of things. I mean, I was the comedy king for years with My Cousin Vinny and The Mask and all the Schwarzenegger, Kindergarten Cop and Twins. And I shouldn't have to give all these credits now, but I did that and then had to kind of turn my ship around doing Gettysburg and Dragonheart, and you probably read this off your little thing that you glanced down at, Last of the Mohicans, and those kinds of, quote, more serious fare, so to speak, so that people would know I'm not just this funny guy. You already know that I'm a funny guy.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't see my picture up there. Are we just going audio?
I don't know. Your picture didn't pop up here. Let's see.
Yeah, I know it didn't pop up after I took all the time away from that damn football game. It was like Oklahoma, Texas, down to the host has you start your video. Okay. I say, okay, there I am.
There we are.
And I purposely wearing a hat because I saw you guys were, so I grabbed the hat that says fit. I mean, I'm making a great effort here on this. What is it called? Happy Hour or something?
Yes, the Happy Hour podcast, and that's also, so pretty much, is that where you do all your work? Pretty much, you is that where you spend all your time, just right there where you are?
What does that say?
Abbey Road.
You got it, baby.
So pretty much, how long have you had to? I imagine you're at your house. How long have you had a studio in your house? Do you do all your work?
No, I don't have a studio in my house. They would kill me. I have a studio. Pardonnez-moi. I'm in Beverly Hills, baby. From New Jersey. I didn't start out here. I have a separate place, a house in the back that is this place, and it's not really. You know what? It's pretty basic. I write here. I don't record here. I mean, that record we were talking about coming out the other side. Yes, I did it all here, but that was kind of and had fun for a different reason. But I write everything here and time it and lock it to the picture. But then I generally go out, even if it's a big orchestral thing. I may go to this place to record it in London. But I generally like to I like that to get out of here to actually do the recording. But all the important stuff, which is the writing and the timing and the fighting with the director, is done right here.
Have you ever had a movie brought to you where they wanted you to score, and it was pretty much a movie you were like, I don't want to, I'm not going to do that? Is there ever a movie that was brought to you that you didn't want to do?
I'm trying to think if ever there was a movie that I wanted to. No, all the time. The answer to your question is yes. And it's not, but you see, let me just tell you, I was around doing lots of other stuff, which you obviously don't know about, for years. I didn't just decide I got out of music conservatory, and I happen to be a very a skilled, trained, traditional classical musician, even though people know, except for you, that I did 1 million albums of songs before I ever entered this. A lot of people think that I'm the son of that guy. All the time, by the way. I'm the son of the guy that wrote all those songs, which you don't know about, and all those many albums that I did. And then the son started scoring movies and television. No, I'm here to tell you, I am the same guy. Okay. So what was your question? Because I will always circle back to your question. Oh, a movie. Yeah. So what I'm about to tell you is it's a real privilege to be able to do what I do. And it's unless you live around here where, you'll meet somebody and they're like a working film composer, of which there are none in the world, but here in Hollywood, this is where people are. So what I'm saying is I worked for years as a musician in many different guises, writing songs, producing records, singing, doing arrangements, conducting. So when I finally got to scoring films, which, by the way, that wasn't like a thing. Like I said, gee, my goal is scoring films. It was never like that. My goal was just being a musician and doing whatever came up and being ready, which you have to be at the drop of a hat, to do whatever it is. Because if you get presented with the opportunity and you blow it, you're gone. Yeah. Especially in this town at this level. So I appreciated it when it happened after many years of other things. And so it's not like, you may talk to somebody else and they'll say, oh, they asked me to do these films and I have to decide. No, there's no decision. They call you, you say yes to whatever it is. Now that may sound, boy, you're not very artistic, or no, that's not it. You can do a good score to any film, comedy, drama, period film, action, whatever it is. It's a process and it's very difficult. And it doesn't necessarily matter what it is specifically. It's the same process. It's the same trying musically to support what this director has put on the screen, where it needs music. And so that's the challenge. And it's the same no matter what. So to circle back and answer your question, there were certain movies, especially I gave you just a little thing when I said a few minutes ago, after I got going doing comedies and doing so many huge hit comedies of different kinds, you get kind of typecast. And so there was a period where if Adam Sandler called me to do his first film, Billy Madison, a completely nerdy, silly, ridiculous thing, which I didn't really want to do, but he had so much passion as most of all these people do who actually get a movie greenlit. It's very difficult to do that. Most movies that are greenlit, even by studios, don't really ever get made, you know. So I was happy now looking back at so many of these things, like My Cousin Vinny, like A Little Picture Called While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock, different kinds of these comedies that I kind of, they were able to twist my arm a little at the time, and quite happily I did them. There's very few, if I, that, you know, if it was completely, if I was on something else and I thought that working on those would take the time away from something else, that would be a reason. Because if I say yes to something, it doesn't matter what it is, or if it's a big director or a first-time director, I give them the same amount of time. I take it seriously. So there were things that I didn't want to do, but now in looking back at what happened, I started doing it at a very interesting time because years ago, you know, if you wrote a score to a movie and the movie wasn't a hit, a big hit, or won an Oscar or something, you know, maybe you'd see it after 11 o'clock on television, or, you know, then suddenly something happened called cable television. Now, cable television took years. You may say, oh, it started in so-and-so. Yeah, but it took years and years to really get going so that they could afford to buy. What did they want? They wanted content. And then they wanted to make original things like HBO with The Sopranos and this kind of thing. So cable had been around maybe 20 years. I used to pay a guy $50 to run up the telephone pole so that I give him $50 so I didn't have to pay for cable. I just give, you know, we'd run up the telephone pole. It's called the Z channel. I'm giving it away now. Someone may come after me. But, you know, that was around a long time before. But when it finally came into the big time, let's say in the mid 90s, you know, with, I only bring up HBO and Sopranos because it was like, wow, they're really going to try to make original material. That's ridiculous. Like when I did Gettysburg for a wonderful guy named Ted Turner, and he had started a version of CNN called TNT. It was like, well, who's going to watch this? Well, obviously, all these things happened. So the reason I'm circling back to that is movies, they wanted content. So beside the original stuff, they wanted to program, or I mean, everybody, I don't care if it's Stars or Showtime, AMC, Disney, HBO, whoever. What was an easy thing, if they could afford it, they could buy Hollywood star-driven movies. Okay, and now what does this have to do with what I'm talking about? Composers suddenly had a whole new thing going on where their music was being played 24/7 if you had a certain kind of movie.
Right, that's right.
And you know, and that's what happened with me. And in my case, you know, so when I tell you now, I am really happy I did those movies, it's because I have 50 movies playing every day, 24 hours a day, in every country, Korea, Iceland, Brazil, Germany, you know what I mean? Now, and I'm not saying, oh, these things are playing, and of course you get your BMI royalties and that. It's not that reason. It's just, you know what's great? It's that these things are part of the life, part of the psyche. Kids growing up, parents who watched certain things when they grow up and say, hey, I want to show Jim Carrey with his green face and the mask to my kid. So what's great for me is just knowing that this shit is out there. And you know what? It will always be out there forever. There's no going back. And so happily, some of those movies that I said that you asked me about, and did I not want to do, I was obviously happy that I did them. And they're still around, alive and well, as big as they ever were. Obviously, things have changed now. It's going around to a completely other thing. Nobody wants to go to the movies. They want to turn on their thing and see is it on Netflix or Amazon. Yeah. Of course. And you, me, everybody, same thing. Like you see, oh, this movie's in a theater. Forget that. It's going to come on in 3 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
So, you're getting, if you're a composer and if you're fortunate enough to have gotten into it in a certain way, and certainly the way I did, it's just fantastic. You know, I'd be lying to you. It's just a great thing. Whereas songs or records, or you can write a Broadway show that I'm doing like now, you don't know when is it going to open. It can close the next day. You have to wait. And obviously all those things are long shots. And even though a hit movie may be a long shot, there are these different things, as well as we're not even talking about with a movie streaming and all that stuff. So you got a whole other audience. And even though they say, oh, you know, they're ripping composers off, they don't pay as much. You know what? Who cares? It's on there. You're getting a penny, you know, that you didn't. So it's just great that in the film area, these things just keep, they're around. And that's always if you're a creative person and that's all you do, and that's the only thing I ever did, it's great that that's what happened because of something technology changed, and something happened to change the whole format for people who write music. And obviously there's people that say, oh God, the music business went, you know, the records don't sell like they do, and it's all live performances. And last year there's no performances. Yeah, that's happening too. I'm not saying that that's not important. It is. But I'm just saying in my end, it's great that all these things have, for lack of a better word, they all have a platform, and it's a big one, and it's endless. There is no end. It'll be around long after I am. So that's great. You know, whereas like songs, I did many albums and I had hits with Barry Manilow and Patti LaBelle and people like that, and some of my own stuff. But that's different because that's only, you know, a few songs that are 3 minutes or 4 minutes long. Now I'm talking about scores of which I write at least an hour of music, you know, for every movie, be it comedy, action, period, serious drama. So that's it.
And with being
I've already made it much too easy for you, my friend.
So
what
so yeah, now that you basically schooled us on how scoring and all that shit works, because honestly, I had no idea. I'll be honest. I'm not going to say I claim to know everything or anything. Really.
No. You're basically a fool. Okay.
But so then
he's a dipshit.
A dipshit. He's a schmuck, as we say in Yiddish.
So
Okay, go ahead.
my question is, what do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to score for a certain type of, like, you know, like genre, like a comedy or anything like that, or do you just prefer to compose on your own and do your own shit?
No. I must say, well, first of all, composing on your own, if you're talking about songs, that's a different animal than, but if we're talking about film scoring here, and that's different. I found, because of my background in orchestrating and conducting and all that stuff, the film scoring stuff is obviously more challenging, and it's based more on craft. Songwriting, you have to have a gift, something in your soul. It doesn't take any musicality as far as school music. Best songwriters in the world can hardly play, and they're still the great. It doesn't mean you can't play. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to have this traditional background, and they don't. So I've really enjoyed the pressure and the challenges of scoring films. Now, as far as the ones that I like to do, each one, when you start, a film has a life. The silliest film in the world may come to you, and it could have a 20-year history. You say, 20 years? What have they been doing? Well, somebody bought a book or wrote a screenplay 20 years ago. They got a star who liked it. They took it to a studio. They're going along, blah, blah, blah. Star drops out. Okay. Then the studio says, you know what? Only want to make it where this guy's not available. Boom. Next. Goes on a shelf. 2 years later, that same guy from the beginning, maybe if he's alive, takes it to a different studio. It's put in turnaround. There's all kinds. I'm giving you a basic little idea. But the point is, when they come to the last person in the line, who's the composer, who's making at the very last second in the life of a movie. I'm not talking about a life of a movie from when it starts being shot. I'm talking about from the inception of an idea, whether it's based on somebody's documentary idea or a book or a novel or a play. It's many years, and you come in and everybody else, producer, the studio or the screenwriter, they've been involved for a long time. You come in at the last second. To answer your question, comedies are the hardest thing to write.
Really?
Other things, action, of course. Listen, why? And you'll say, oh, you're right, it's obvious. Dramas, action pictures, romantic things, they dictate them. They dictate. You generally will see a scene that the director wants music for, and you know what, you see what it is. You know pretty much, or a dark thing, a horror film, you know pretty much what the music for that particular scene, what he's looking for. You should anyway. If you don't, you're in the wrong business. Okay, comedies, where I started in the feature film thing, it's not like that at all. If you have a good guy, I mean, I've worked with all of them, whether it's Eddie Murphy or Jim Carrey or, any of them, Martin Lawrence, Adam Sandler. They're really talented actors. They're talented comedians. And generally, or even Jackie Chan in all those films I did, Shanghai Noon, Shanghai Nights, they sort of do their thing and they carry, a lot of the scenes and personality of the film themselves. You don't need to play them. If they're good, which all those people are, and they've proven themselves, they don't need funny support. They are funny. So once in a while, there'll be a scene, depending on what the scene is or where it takes place or other characters or what part of the story is that needs musical support, but they don't need it. So certainly my music for comedies, or even something like Ghostbusters 2, when you listen to the music, it ain't funny at all. It's playing that, every comedy has dark sides and romance and action and chases. And usually, for the most part, and a color. The color is when was this film shot? What year? Where was it shot? How was it shot? And that's the stuff that usually I'm playing in a comedy. And so comedies are a little harder because besides those things, then yes, of course, you have to decide where the quote funny scenes and these characters who I just mentioned need support. And there's a lot more thought that needs to go on in when you're looking at it. Okay, where does it need music? Because just as important in films, where the music goes is where the music doesn't go, and where you don't need music, and where you need silence, so that when any music comes in, it's got a value and an importance and a reason to be there. So to sort of circle back and answer the question you asked is I like it all because the challenge, quite honestly, the hardest thing is a comedy, not like, looking at Dragonheart or Last of the Mohicans or Gettysburg, because you kind of see the scene and you know what it needs.
It's crazy because some of those scenes, you watch them without music in the background. At that point, it's just kind of awkward. And really, it could kind of make or break a scene.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And it's got to be, you can, first of all, you don't have, I could spend a year writing every score. Well, you don't have a year. You may not have a month. You may have a week. You have as much time as each particular situation says you have. Every one of these, believe me, and when I enter, sometimes you say, oh, they knew they wanted you, right? Wrong. I've arrived here through a set of circumstances. It's not once in a while, yes, or if it's a director who you've done their last film and they know, they want to work with you again, which doesn't always happen, even though you may have a successful creative relationship with somebody. So you have to kind of look and decide, where the music is. And even though some people may say, well, isn't it more creative when you're doing something else where you're just composing music out of thin air and you can write whatever you want? Or when you're composing music to a film, that's not very creative because you're trying to compose music for something that someone has done in a certain amount of time that a scene has. But guess what? It's completely the opposite. Within the 30 seconds of that scene, or the minute of the scene, or the 5 minutes of that scene, you could do whatever you want musically. That's a wide area. And it really gives you a lot of possibilities. And what I was going to say before is you could sort of take the easy way out, and say, okay, it needs that. Just going to do what you think it needs. Or you can introduce some interesting ideas based on whatever it is. And that's where usually you get into a lot of trouble.
And have you ever sat there and did a score for a movie and you sat there, you just kind of watch the movie back? Now, when you do the score, is it for a specific scene or do you do the score and then they have to kind of edit it in where you kind of
No. You're doing specific cues that you spotted. No, nothing. It's not like, you're just getting an idea and you came up with a bunch of themes and they threw them in. Now, has that been done before? Yeah, you could find an example of something that happened. So nothing is 100%, but no, you're doing specific cues that you have spotted and decided with the director and then you're looking at that scene, you're writing to every frame. Now, you don't want it to sound like that. You don't want people to know, oh, the guy got hit over the head, you accented. Then in the next scene, somebody drove up and they took, it's sort of Mickey Mouse. No, it's got to have a general feeling, but you're picking those spots that musically you want to vary or that visually demand it. If you're writing a scene, by the way, when I said a cue may be 5 scenes. A cue starts, then at 20 seconds, you see a car drive away, the music continues. Somebody drives, they get out of the car on a beach, a girl comes, you know what I mean? So the music changes within the cue, but the beginning of the cue and the end of the cue is to specific points. It may be 5 minutes long, it may be 15 seconds long.
And what we're going to do real quick, we're going to get into a game segment that we do with all of our guests. It's called Ode to Humanity. Starts off normal and then it gets very, very fucking weird from as it progresses along. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 5-second rule. Have you ever played 5-second rule before, Randy?
Well, that could refer to several things. I'm going to say no, but I think I know what you're going to go to. But
So pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to give you 5 seconds to name 3 of a certain category, and we're going to do 2 rounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with you have 5 seconds to give us 3 Army commissioned officer ranks, starting now.
Colonel, General, Major.
Awesome. That was easy enough. And then the next one, and this one's a little bit easier. The other side's always a little bit easier. Name 3 large U.S. cities starting now.
Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis.
All right. And that's 5-second rule. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to Incoherent. Incoherent, relatively new game. A lot of people haven't played it before. Pretty much.
It seems to me that musicians are a lot lot intelligent.
Oh, definitely. Some of those people.
Well, you didn't have to be that intelligent to answer those things. Go ahead.
And now this is where it gets really fun. Pretty much, I'm going to hold up a card, and it's going to be in drunken lingo. And what you need
can I see it? Am I supposed to see it?
What
I
you're
can't.
Gonna do,
oh, now okay.
Yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to sound it out the best way you can. And see if you can figure out what that card says. And there's 2 hints on the back. If you need a hint, let me know.
2 hints on the back of what it said?
Yeah.
Even though basically you're saying whatever I think it says, I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
but I'm
going to sound it out. What do you think that term is that's on the front of the card? If you were
drunk, going to be one word?
It's a quote.
Okay, well, okay. You want me to tell you what I think it is? I have no idea.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
What's the something password? I don't know.
Oh, you're close. You're close. What's the Wi-Fi password?
It's actually
That's
Oh,
where-
okay, well,
real close. You got real close. And then here's another one. And this is something that you can make. You'll see a lot of it in the gym.
it's not the powder you put on your hands when you're lifting weights and you got
No, but
definitely
powder
powder.
is one of the words. It's definitely a powder.
pre-workout.
a powder. I mean, I don't know. Is it the
It-
powder? Are we live? I can say any words, right?
No, yeah, you can say whatever
Yeah,
you
it's not like the powder you want to put on your balls or something.
No, no,
It's
no.
itching. Okay, I'm kidding. All
It,
right.
it comes from your balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Something from
it's
your
like
balls has this in it.
There you go.
It has that in it. Your balls has it.
Pretty much
Okay,
you'll see
I-
people shaking it in their little plastic containers at the gym. Shaking it up.
Let's see. Balls shaking. Nah, I'm gonna give up.
All right, it's protein powder. So you'll see them sitting there shaking the protein powder in the back.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a couple of years since I've been to a gym. You can tell that.
And then this is going to be your last one, and then we'll move on to one of the other games. This is pretty much if you're standing somewhere and a smell just randomly comes up.
Yeah, it's a fart. Yeah, it's something about a fart.
You know,
It got noisy
only
outside.
brings-
Oh yeah, a wet fart.
Farting in public. However, you did very, very good. A lot of people can't make out a lot of those words. Good
Well, I
stuff.
don't know. You're talking to the wrong folks. Then.
And then what we're gonna do is we're now gonna do what do you mean? So I'm gonna hold up this photo right here. I'm gonna let you get a good look at that photo.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you 4 options on what you think could best meme that photo. So pretty much
You don't want to know what I think it is.
yeah, afterwards, what you think it is, we'll have you do what you think it is afterwards. And
Okay, but what do you want me to say again? What did you want to know from it?
we're going to give you 4 options on which one out of the cards that we have you think best answers that.
Oh, okay.
When someone asks if butter is a carb, when your mom finds the fertility base you hid under the sink, when your mom walks in on you asking if you want snacks or a condom, or when your vibrator battery runs out of battery the night before you finish.
Yeah, okay. And now which one of those fit the picture?
Yeah, which one of those do you think would best answer that?
I don't know. I'm going to say the first one, although I forgot
First
what
one?
it was.
When someone asks you if butter is a carb. Now, if you were to make one up for this, what would you say for that photo?
He only brings a circle.
I'd say it's Jerry Lewis eating popcorn with his kid watching a movie. That's who it is, It's Jerry Lewis. It looks just like him.
And we will finish our Ode to Humanity segment with Cards Against Humanity. Do you know anything about Cards Against Humanity?
No.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to read off a card, and then we're going to ask you to pick number 1 through 4. Whatever number you pick, that card is going to answer this. And if you don't like that answer, you can pick a second card. So pretty much, in his new action comedy, Jackie Chan must fend off ninjas while also dealing with blank. So number 1 through 4, what do you want? 1, 2, 3, or 4? And it's
Where
randomly
are they?
drawn.
Okay.
It's randomly drawn.
Oh, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it's randomly drawn. So do you want 1 through 4?
I'll say 2.
2. All right, 2. So in his new action comedy, Jackie Chan must fend off ninjas while also dealing with an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. Are you satisfied with that answer, or do you want a different number?
I don't really care. I mean, okay, I'll take a different. Yeah, I'm satisfied. I like that special.
You like that one? All right, cool. And then the next one is my gym teacher got fired for adding blank to the obstacle course. And would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
4. My gym teacher got fired for adding the swim team all at once to the obstacle course.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I'll take 2.
All right, so my gym teacher got fired for adding African children to the obstacle course.
Oh, I better get off that. Okay, I'll take 1 then, and that'll do it.
1. All right, 1. My gym teacher got fired for adding Jeff Goldblum to the obstacle course.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
And Randy, thank you for taking part in our games. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let you get back to your game. We know you're trying to watch your football game. Thank you for being on the Happy Hour podcast. And thank you. Honestly, I love that you gave us shit because it makes me great. I did pro wrestling for 20 years and I love people just giving me shit. I got used to talking shit to me in the crowd. So honestly, thank you. We accept it with open arms. And honestly, tell everybody online where they can find you, where they can find your new single that's coming out and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, they can go to my website at www.randyedelman.com. And listen, I always tell people that because I just, if you want to listen to a song or a score or anything, you just put my name in YouTube and put the name of whatever it is or the movie. And 9 times out of 10, whatever you want is going to come right up. And it sounds like just over your phone, like $1 million. It's easy.
All right, Randy. Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right,
Good luck.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
All right. You too.
Okay.
All right, so that was it. Randy Edelman was joining us on the program. Of course, everybody, we're going to keep on rolling a little bit longer on YouTube Live. And what a great guy! Like, I mean, that's the thing. And I meant to ask him a little bit.
Us a little shit.
Yeah,
but,
but
I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
I
mean, you know what? It is what it is. And I mean, granted, we didn't do the research we probably should have done. But also, you know how it works. I like to go in and call things on the fly, and that's just the whole way it works. And I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to get upset about it,
honestly,
or anything like that.
What he does. I watched a Netflix series over the weekend, or was it the week? Sorry, because it is the weekend. I have no idea where I am anymore. It was called Black Mass. If you guys heard of it?
Yeah.
Or no, Midnight Mass.
Yeah, we were talking about that with Ashley Pontius last week. Yeah.
Steve, have you seen that? You've seen it?
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty intense. And speaking of the fact of what he does, and he says it's much easier, which I'm sure probably is. The scoring. See, now it's called scoring. I don't look at me. He made me more intelligent. Is just so key on that show. And if you watch it, you understand what I mean. It goes into a lot of like religious cult kind of type shit, and it's basically, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but a little bit.
Yeah.
It's basically like a fucking vampire in there, and he becomes fucking like a priest basically, and gives people his own blood, and he starts to cure people of this island and shit. It's pretty wild. But anyway, I don't want to go too deep and spoil too much about it, but the scoring,
you don't want to go too deep into it.
But the scoring of that show, it's
real deep.
It's really
Steve's
good.
neighbors here is just talking about going just super deep into it. Of course, if they haven't heard anything else, and real quick, what we're going to do, we're going to get into our featured beer, which of course we've been refeaturing a lot of stuff, which Molson Canadian is being refeatured today. And also, you can see it in the background on the wall. Natty Bo. Of course, we're from Baltimore. You cannot go wrong without Natty Bo. And
it's really the only reason because this guy here knows I like to get fucked up, so he packs only a certain amount of beer, just like my fucking daddy. Anyway,
and we actually have a new featured shot. And Steve, you said you didn't want to take one, correct? Or you want to take one? You good? All right. So Matt, I'll give you that one.
I'm very interested in trees.
We were talking about this for those of you on the audio program. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube because we have extended episodes on our YouTube page. We're going to be doing a lot of exclusive stuff on YouTube, and we talked about this on our YouTube page. What our new featured shot is the Metallica Blackened whiskey. This was sent to us. Shout out to Sherry Nelson. She sent this to us. Unfortunately, the cap got all messed up during transport. I don't know what the hell happened. It was in the bottom of my freezer when I opened it. But this is our new featured shot, the Metallica blackened whiskey. So
yes,
I'm going to go ahead and pour that in here, which these actually, from leaving them in the cooler, they look like they're kind of frosted over. So there's that.
Very generous.
Yes, very, very generous shots. And I think this is the first episode we've ever done where we have not actually poured this over the laptop, which, you know, so we have plenty of, which is great.
We're moving up now.
So, and then this is for Steve, our generous host, for letting us,
Thank you.
you know, record at his yard bar. And let me go ahead and pop this back in here before something bad becomes of this. And so pretty much here we go. So guys, here we go. Oh, man. Ooh. I can feel that in my nose. That was like a rod of lightning.
Yeah.
No pun intended for Metallica, but that was like a rod of lightning that went right.
Treatment in
Oh my God. It's good though. It's good. So yeah, shout out to Metallica and shout out the blackened whiskey. Oh man. 45% alcohol by volume, 90 proof, and it's a 750 milliliter bottle. Make sure you go out and get some. And while we're sitting here doing shots, I'm pretty sure Randy Edelman's probably sitting there thinking to himself, what the fuck did I just get myself into and all that. But you know, nice guy. I mean, it happens, you know, you experience every type of guest, and you know, hey, that's the way things work, and you know, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought.
And
Shot.
oh yeah,
So.
it's definitely great. And of course, next week, for those of you listening at home, of course, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. So, you know, wherever you listen to us, of course, we're going to have a bonus episode, which will not be on any of our podcast platforms next week. That will be with Bill Hartley. He's a local ghost hunter, and he's also been a part of Ghost of Shepherdstown, which was on Destination America. And our good friend, Vincent Painter, NFL player Vincent Painter, who also owns Chesapeake Apothecary, he will be joining us as a special guest co-host for that. And then also next week, we will be live with Soho Johnny, who is being provided by Elaine Shapiro, who's been getting us all kinds of guests recently. So, but yeah, definitely checking it out. And of course, I've been looking a little bit at the live feed, and I saw a comment from David Gilbert, and I guess it was when we were talking about seagulls on the pre-show. And David Gilbert said, "I enjoy tossing French fries on people at the beach. Maybe I'll find you there, Ray." So pretty much, I'm guessing he loves flinging French fries on the people and having seagulls peck them to death.
I'm gonna take that a step further.
Yeah.
A step further from that comment would be, let's say, like, you know, this, what, not the Saw movie. Is it Saw? Like the guy that kidnaps people and shit?
Yeah, Jigsaw. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So picture this. He just fucking kidnaps all these people, right? It makes this fucking little fry necklace. And he puts it around these.
It's kind of,
he puts it around his
you ever see tribal leaders? They have like those little bone necks. It's like a bone necklace, but with fries. That's what
exactly.
Yes,
he's going to take him out to the fucking beach or the shore or wherever, and he's just going to have him fucking run. And whoever fucking, you know, survives the fucking massive seagulls are just going to destroy them and peck out their eyes.
Yeah.
You know, kind of wins the game.
Yeah.
Birds.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like David Gilbert should write a new novel that's kind of like a birds type novel, but it's about seagulls doing these awful things. And of course, for everybody listening at home, make sure you check out our YouTube for our extended episode. On the pre-show, we were talking about seagulls and how they can eat rabbits. They peck eyes out of baby seals. These are just terrible, awful fucking creatures. But yeah, and also they don't ever forget a face. I mean, that's the thing. And I'm pretty sure they don't forget the face of that baby seal while they're pecking its eyeballs out either. So, you know, that's just the whole thing. So make sure you check that out. But just imagine that, though. Like, imagine being buried up to your neck in sand, but having a bucket of fries dumped over your head.
Yes.
And then seagulls just come down and they swoop down and they're just eating the fries. They're pecking at your face. They're just pecking you over and over again. And, yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. And it's like,
what a way to die.
like with
What
that,
a
like
way
you're
to fucking
shitting
die.
yourself, but you're under sand. So you're shitting yourself and you're shitting and pissing yourself in the sand. Like, how does that work? Because we all know how wet sand works. So it's just kind of like what does that do? And it's like, at that point, not only are you shitting, you're pissing yourself, but also the sand's getting into your ass and your
All
pee
I'm saying
hole.
is
And,
these
it's
Saw
just-
movies, they
Yeah.
got to think bigger, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good.
I
torture
swear to
method
God, in
right
a couple of months, if we are not promoting a David Gilbert book and it does not have a flock of seagulls flying around over someone that's neck deep in sand, I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to be almost as upset as Randy Edelman on the Happy Hour podcast. That's how upset that I am going to be. Yes, it takes place in Ocean City, Maryland. That's where it
So-
takes place.
What would be the title of that fucking novel?
Oh, what would that be? Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. And of course, Steve, you do a lot of his book covers.
Oh, I'm sure
So-
things are going
into his brain.
I'm sure
yeah.
things are popping off right now in his brain.
Yeah.
right
Oh,
now.
I'm sure.
He's already drawing an image
Yeah.
of
yeah.
seagulls just
Yeah.
taking massive shits
Yeah.
on.
What it should be, and we talked about this too, is that also how hippos are very violent animals too. And at the end of the story, it should be that there's this vicious
seagulls.
yeah. there's this one vicious. It's like the fucking Michael Myers of seagulls, and he's just killing everybody and killing everything. And then at the very end, he's taken out by a water horse, which is a hippo, and that hippo just consumes that seagull. But see, here's the thing: the sequel of the book is now the seagull living inside of the hippo, and it needs to peck its way out of the hippo. So the whole entire next book is a whole graphic novel. It's a graphic novel, kind of like The Walking
Well,
Dead,
I got
of
an
this
idea.
seagull
Listen,
fighting its way out of this
I got an
hippo's
idea.
stomach.
The hippos, they're sent by the fucking the border patrol people to lessen the abundance of all the seagulls.
Is this going back?
Like
Is
microchip?
Is this going back to when someone was trying to smuggle Diablo sauce into a
Yes.
different country?
Exactly.
The marketing
exactly where
ideas
it's
on
going.
this are
Yeah.
endless. Yeah,
I know.
hungry seagull
God.
hippos.
Yeah.
I think we should all get. I think we should all get together, and fucking Dave, and write a fucking book.
That's the thing. Like the seagull has committed so many murders that at that point it has to wear a disguise. Like it's sitting there and it changes like its appearance. Like it sits there and it does like a cheap blackface, but instead like it paints itself up to look like a crow, and the rest of the crows are like, "Hey, motherfucker, you're in blackface."
Wearing
Like
death masks, an old death mask at the
yeah, with the beak on the front,
Right.
and they're just kind of like, "You're not really a crow.
You're
like
not one
this,
of us.
yeah, you're not one of us." Like, and then what happens is the crow gets mad and he flings water on the seagull, and some of the shoe polish comes off of the seagull, and you see the white and gray fur underneath, and it's just like, like as it's just screaming in anger.
I could see
And
it.
yeah,
This is
I-
actually going to
yeah.
be a short clip on fucking TikTok or something. It would work.
Yeah.
We need to get together with like a
There's
producer.
actually,
and we'll have our guest, Edelman.
yes. We'll have Randy Edelman.
We'll have him,
he'll
like,
do
score
the
the
yeah. We'll
music
have him
for it.
score the music. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, in the background, like the music starts off, it's like this really low theme. You hear ocean water in the background,
Right.
and then you just hear the seagulls
Keep it somewhat
fly in.
comical, keep
Yeah,
it busy,
yeah,
right?
just simple.
No,
and
I
everybody's
mean-
just like, this is just a regular beach scene.
Yes.
Right.
And then
Well,
all of a
let's be
sudden, you
honest,
just hear
this-
people screaming, and
Right.
there's panic,
Let's
and
be
you just
honest.
see the seagull just standing there, just looking around, angry. And everybody's seen it. Everybody has looked in their little beady eyes, and have seen that just one angry
Anybody
seagull.
that's ever ate
just-
trashers knows.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and shout outs to Thrasher's Fries. We have them all, all over the boardwalk in Ocean City, Maryland.
Oh, dude, I love
and
Thrasher's.
trust me, they overload those cups so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you thought, and of course we brought up Ghostbusters too. If you thought they unloaded those semen cannons like that they were using in that movie, like I mean,
I'm not sure that's what they were called.
You
but
look at it like
I'm
this.
going to go with it.
And I was going to bring it up during the episode, but Randy Edelman shit on us, so I didn't bring up the semen cannons. And you know, and I hope his team loses because you know he came on and he shit on us, and then like he said he was missing a football game. So I hope whoever his team is, I hope they lose because you know I'll be a good sport, but hopefully the team he's rooting for loses. But anyways, anyway, what it's going to be is this that they had these like little drone things with these semen cannons, and these semen they was shoot this goo like they did it with the Empire, the Statue of Liberty, and so pretty much you're reanimating the Statue of Liberty with semen. Like that's what it is. It's like, right. And then like I wonder if they use Randy Edelman's music to bring it to life. Remember, music would make the toaster dance. Right, I wonder if one of I should have asked him that. Randy, was it your son?
One Dave Fox called it in that one movie, the residue of the departed.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. It's the residue of the departed.
So you're telling me,
yeah.
To solve the border crisis, this is what we need.
Wait a minute. Wait. We go from murder blackface seagulls to semen cannons. This is how we correct border control.
Look, I'm just saying. You get these fucking drones together shooting semen cannons. Ain't nobody gonna want to cross the fucking border.
Well, what do you need drones for? That shit. You can just have the murder seagulls carry the Ghostbuster semen cannons.
Look, I don't recommend it.
What was it we said when we had to put one bonus episode that they had paws or they had like what was it, talons, and they had like and they didn't have either. They just had those little like bird feet.
I don't know.
And like you said, one of us said paws. I think I said paws, and you were like, no, they have talons. I'm like, they're not fucking hawks. They're not eagles. Like they have those little like fucking bird feet. Of course, make sure you check out that bonus episode because Matt was high as shit and it was hilarious. So, but
you know what I'm saying is, regardless, I don't think we should go that route. Like murder seagulls, come on. At least with the cum plasma.
The cum plasma.
I'm gonna go with that. The cum plasma hooked up to a drone flying around shooting it. Like that's gonna deter people. Like I'm not saying we should kill people.
I don't want to get shot by jizz.
That's gonna like I'm like fuck that. I'm not going there.
And of course, with this, what we're going to do is for everybody listening at home, we're going to go ahead and wrap our regular weekly episode. Make sure you tune in next week. Our special guest is Soho Johnny, and we will see you guys next week. For everybody on our YouTube live, we're going to keep on rolling for a little bit because we're going to do our extended episodes right here live exclusively on YouTube. And so we're talking about semen cannon, and we talked a little bit earlier about drones. So at that point, like you get like a semen cannon drone, and you can just fly it over something. Like you had missiles in your yard. It gets hot. Well, see, here's the thing. This can be our invention. We can invent something and be millionaires. Right. We need to create drones that have semen cannons in them. Then that way, if a woman wants to get pregnant, someone can just fly a drone in there and it can just shoot this shit into
like
her.
A mini drone. You can't get a big ass drone like, hey, what's up, baby?
Just
unload all this.
That's a good idea for a porn movie, like a porn scene. You attach a dildo to the fucking drone, and like the girl's just sitting there like all wide legged, and then you fly that thing like at an angle. You fly that.
Not really. That's a really good idea.
I created that. If anybody in Silicon Valley
right now, seagulls to attack a flying dildo.
Yeah. If anybody in Silicon Valley, and I say Silicon Valley lightly because there's a lot of silicone in that valley because it's porn valley, which I love fake tits. So, I'm not going to ever shit on that. But I love tits of any kind, any shape, unless they're A's. And then I don't love them because then you just look like a boy. And, there's no problem if you want to be a boy. We live in that world where whatever. But if your titties look like a boy's titties, I don't want to look at your titties. I'm sorry. But that's just the way it works. But, that's the whole thing. So if it pops up in a movie, and I'm sure Steve's neighbors, if they're listening, they're probably just kind of like, I hope he never invites these characters over here ever again. Like,
we're pretty well connected with their guests, with porn guests and all that.
Well, we're pretty well connected, unless it's Randy Edelman, and then we're not connected at all. Like it's just,
the pornographic,
just busting your chops.
Yeah, and that's fine. As I said, you know,
Good guy.
yeah,
Good guy.
All
awesome
the
guy.
pornographic stars that we've had on this show.
I still hope his team loses.
At least half of those women are willing to have sex with a drone.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh yeah.
I
You know
mean-
what? That's it. The next girl we have on, that's
We're
gonna
gonna
be
ask her.
that's gonna be our active thing. One of our questions to every star we have on is: are you actively willing to have sex with a drone and or
With
an
dildo
AI
attachments.
being? Like one of those, like not just a robot, but like one of those. You ever see the videos like where the people are like giving like the robot dog a hard time?
It's
Like
weird,
it needs to be
man.
like one of those like robot dogs, but like it can like transform or some shit. Like it's like a transformer, and it just transforms into like a big giant cock, and then it's just kind of like, well, let's do this. And then the drones come in, and the drone, it's like Gulliver's Travels. Like all these drones come in for this big, like fucking gigantic like dog beast robot.
Sounds like I need
And-
me one of those
Yeah,
drones.
and it hooks ropes underneath, and it picks like the dog penis up and like just flies it to wherever it needs to go. Like,
I'm really trying to think. Like, wow, that's
well,
I'm trying to
I mean,
imagine
I
this
think-
from the bird's eye view of the camera on this drone.
oh, the seagull eye view. The
Going in and out.
he's trying to imagine this from the seagull's eye view.
it's
Right.
hurting
what's
my
going on.
eyes.
Like,
or no, my brain. It's hurting my
I mean,
brain.
honestly, if you want to direct a horror movie, you direct a horror movie that's a first-person horror movie of a seagull that murders. And that's the thing. It's like, but what you're seeing, it's kind of like, when you play Halo, you have a first-person view of a seagull that murders.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So,
I see potential there.
yeah, that could be a VR game.
Potential.
Could you imagine that? Like you're a seagall and you fly
And
around.
you know that honestly, and if I'm gonna break away, this is like no, not actually breaking away, but there's a market for that. I'm
Yeah.
sure somewhere in
Yeah.
the virtual world.
Oh yeah.
Because it's expanding.
Somebody wants to
It's
jerk off
getting
the seagulls
crazy.
murdering. That's what it is. Like somebody out there. We are talking about this, and somebody out there has their hands in their pants. May or may not be me, because you currently do not see my hand on camera, so I could be touching myself right now.
Well, that's
talking about all this.
That's not
but-
where I was going. But let's say just
Well, how can we go any farther than where we've already gone? Like we've already went. Like I think this is just a buildup. Like we talked to Randy. Randy came on. He busted our balls, and we were just kind of at that point. We were just kind of like we're a little down, and now we're just kind of like. Now we're talking about like seagulls murdering and like dick cannons and shit. Like just.
Dave's
Yeah,
he's laughing his ass off right now. I guarantee it.
Dave, here's the thing. Dave needs to write a novel on this entire episode because just as many layers that this episode alone has had. There's been many layers. Like
I need to
Yeah.
use the saloon over there.
you need to use the saloon bathroom,
Saloon bathroom.
and
Not
Matt's
sure how
gonna
it
go.
works.
Matt's gonna go over to the saloon.
You'll figure it out.
Matt's gonna go in there, and it's gonna be like going into the bathroom of a speakeasy. If anybody knows what a speakeasy is. And speaking of which, my wife is in Georgetown, and we saw something. It was called Swingers Golf Club. It was like some weird like golf bar. Oh, also I meant to tell Matt this. I swear to God, we met a man who killed his whole family last night. Like, but we were sitting outside of this real cool pizza place. I forgot what the name of the pizza place is, but the pizza was awesome. I would plug them, but I don't remember their name. So that's what having a brain of Jello is after getting hit in the head so many times with steel chairs. It's like, but we're sitting outside waiting for them to call us because you still need to wear masks and all that kind of bullshit in DC. But it's the whole thing that we're sitting outside waiting for them to call us. And this guy just comes up to us and he's like, "Hey guys, how are you?" Blah, blah, blah. Real nice guy, like has drinking. You can tell he's blitzed. And he's sitting there talking to us. And he's like, "Yeah, blah, blah. How you doing? Like, where are you from?" We're like, "Oh, we're from Baltimore." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I used to live here in DC, blah, 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 all that. Pandemic was hard for me. I lost my whole entire family. Like I lost 5 people and my dog."
Right.
And then, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, and then like he's sitting there talking about other things, like going to see like Louis C.K. in New York, and like, there was something that he said. I forgot what it was that made me think that he killed his entire. Oh, he said he used to live in D.C. and then he moved to West Virginia. And I'm like, so you're hiding out in the woods. Matt is losing his mind. We're trying to figure out how to use the speakeasy bathroom. Yeah, the saloon bathroom, like pretty much the doors. Yeah. I was amused earlier. Yeah.
Do that. I'm just innovation, man.
Matt is amazing. But the doors, mind you, the doors on the bathroom are the kind of doors that cowboys would throw other cowboys through from a bar. Those are like old school cowboy doors where a cowboy would throw another cowboy through the door.
No,
And, like,
you're talking about the fucking cowboy. I'm talking about the filtration contraption that's going. That is insane. Christ, I could have been doing that all along. What am I thinking? My God.
But anyway, the
You
guy
didn't see the innovation. I saw it there. I invite everyone now watching to go over and take a fucking piss.
yes. What we're gonna do is
we're
Yard
look,
bar.
we're gonna invite people. We're gonna charge admission to the yard bar, and pretty much you're not allowed to drink anything. You're not allowed to look at Steve. None of that. It's gonna be like Ellen DeGeneres. You're not allowed. It's gonna be like Ellen DeGeneres. You're not allowed to look at him. You're not allowed to talk to him. But we're gonna charge you $5 to walk in and see this innovative bathroom with the filtration system that he has in his backyard.
This is how we should all be living right now. Oh my God.
Speaking about living, let's get back to the unliving. And this guy in DC, who he pretty much said he used to live in DC, but then he moved to West Virginia. I'm like, well, that's odd. Like, your family dies and then you just relocate. Yeah, and I'm sitting there and I'm telling my wife, I'm like, normally people who are nice like this, like look at Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was a charming person.
Oh yeah.
And he would sit there and look at
everybody
and I told my wife, I was like, he wants to murder me, you, and your cousin. That's what's gonna happen. Like he killed. She's like, no, I feel really bad for him. I'm like, you feel really bad for him, but then the next thing you know, he has your head in a freezer. Like that's just the way it works. Like I'm pretty sure. And I was like, yeah, I understand if COVID killed his family, which if so, God rest their souls, that sucks. But how did the dog die? Like, did the dog die of COVID as well? Like, I don't understand. We need to invite that woman over here and be like,
go over and take a
Meanwhile,
it is Baltimore. If there wasn't any dog fighting going on, they're probably going to get
if there was no dog fights or no violence, we'd be, she just came down the steps. She's angry. Like, I mean, like she's putting her cigarette out. She's getting ready to go down and whoop some ass. Like that's just the way it's going to work. And I mean that's what happens when we're she's gonna she's gonna do a Seagull single. If that dog does not listen soon, she's gonna summon the seagulls,
right?
And then they're gonna come and they're gonna
we could do a whole nother series on that over there.
That's it.
What was that?
We get that dog's wearing a fry collar right now. That's what it is. But see, here's the thing: like if David, and you know David very well, Steve. If David
becomes very, very good.
If David were to do a fry collar to put on people for seagulls to brutally, viciously pick them apart piece by piece, what kind of fries would he use? Would it be like Arby's curly fries? Would it be like Wendy's fries? Like what fast food establishment?
I guess because we brought up Frasher fries. Maybe
take place in
Ocean City.
He could very well even do like the Jerry's fries. You know how the Jerry's has the really. That's the only thing I like from Jerry's subs and pizzas. It's those waffle like rigid fries. Like, there was a time.
I'm going to drive 3 hours now.
We're gonna leave right now and go get Frasher fries and drive back.
Let's go, guys.
But the whole time we're gonna drink the black and whiskey on the way. Not saying that we're gonna drink and drive. We're gonna stop at the red lights. We're gonna take a shot of the whiskey and then we're gonna drive.
Yes, because that's rules, right? That's like
it's not.
No. Because look, I'm very in tune with laws and how they work.
We're gonna take. Where is it? We're gonna take Jeep. We're promoting Jeep right now, by the way. So Jeep, if you want to sponsor us, just and Steve has a Jeep. So shout out to Jeep. Yeah,
Jeep
and
Unite, baby.
Yes, so Jeep. if you want to sponsor us and well,
I'm saying,
make sure
what I was saying, I'm very in tune with the law.
Daddy Bo.
Shit. Technically, if you stop and you put your car in park or parked, they cannot, get you for drunk driving because you're parked.
Can they kind of get you for open container though?
Oh, no. What's really fucking crazy is I was leaving what used to be the it was what the hell was the name of that bar over there on Conklin Street.
Oh,
The Laughing Pine.
okay.
I parked right at the stop sign.
Yeah.
Across from them, right?
Yeah.
I left. I was all fucked. I shouldn't be driving. Right? I was sitting there. I got in the car. Sitting there. Turn on my car. Make a right turn from the stop sign.
Yeah.
Woo! Fucking cops pull up both sides of me. Like, whoa.
Oh, fuck.
Entrapment.
Yeah, they're like, you ran a stop sign. I said, I was parked at the stop sign.
See, and you know the laws.
Also,
That's
they
the
started
word.
flying the flashlights all in the back seat of my car and everything else. They're trying to find
Can
something.
we ask you about all these drones you have back here?
Right.
And what's this cannon
What's
thing
with
the
the
full
seagull
handle?
in this cage?
Yeah,
Right.
You're shaking the cage.
Well,
with
you
a
remember the
seagull.
story? Did you ever hear the story of Jose Canseco driving around with a goat wearing a diaper in his
No,
car?
no.
It's just kind of like that. And I'm like, sir, we're gonna have to ask you about the seagull. But why does the seagull have blood all over its wings?
Right.
Like, we
Shit.
didn't understand. Like,
But no, within the laws, and this is Maryland. I'm not going to say because I don't know. We're still live, right?
yes,
I'm
we're
not
live
going
on
to say
YouTube.
this is what everyone can do, but as far as I know, the law in Maryland, if you are parked, you're not considered a mobile vehicle, so
Right.
they can't technically get you for drunk driving.
And you can't run a stop sign if you're parked at it.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the moment you put your car in drive and you go to leave it, then they got something on.
Yeah, they
But-
just sit there and they wait. They have their
Well,
drone hovering above your car. That the second that you leave, they're just
Well,
like,
well,
all right.
I'm going to be clear. I support police, but
Oh, I do
this-
too, 100%.
But
Right.
yeah, you kind of got to work within the laws, and if
Yeah.
that is the law, then well, hey, it is what it is. You can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
But then you're stuck at a fucking red light.
You're just stuck there forever. You have a line of cars just honking at you. You're like, I can't go anywhere. I'm drunk.
Could you imagine the police just sitting outside waiting for you, moving, just like, oh!
I've jumped many medium strips sitting in a fast food joint trying to get up to the window drunk, and I can't get out. I'm like, I'm gonna pass out if I sit here. I'm
Well-
not gonna get my food, so I'm just gonna
Right.
jump over here.
There was a time, and we live in a different world now because people might get offended by this, but I don't give a shit. You want to be listening or watching our podcast if you get offended by it. But there was a time where there was a girl that was we knew, and we were on the Taco Bell drive-through, and we're in the Taco Bell drive-through, and as soon as we pull into the drive-through, my friend Bobby looks around. He's like, "This is the weirdest fucking church I've ever seen in my life," and I'm like, "Dude, we're at Taco Bell."
Right.
And then we realized that chick's behind us. And so my buddy Kevin gets out and he starts like talking to her and all that stuff. And then, he's talking to her in through her window at the Taco Bell drive-thru while she's like ordering her food. And he shows her his penis. And I'm just kind of like, oh, look, no, this ain't the way it works. So I get out and I go over to the passenger side and I start talking.
And you show her
and
your
then the
penis.
next thing you know, there's a cock through this one, or there's a cock through this window, and it's just kind of like it's almost like what is it, Pong? The game Pong, like it's just kind of up and down, and it's just kind of like, well, whichever way you. I mean, it didn't work.
Very interesting.
We ate our Taco Bell sad in the parking lot. It didn't work, but the whole time she's just sitting there laughing. We're like, was she laughing at the situation, or is she laughing at what we have going on here? Like, I don't understand like what this whole thing is like, and like.
Probably
you
like
know.
the situation because any like regular fucking
Yeah.
broad.
Yeah.
But I'm
And
just
right
gonna-
now, like you can't hear it on the audio. Right now, the dog's being murdered
No.
by a seagull.
I'm gonna.
That's what's
Yeah.
happening.
I'm gonna take a like. Did this happen in Dundalk?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I'm
It
just gonna say
did.
she's probably laughing at a situation because most Dundalk hoes are just gonna suck your dick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not long
That's
after,
right, okay.
not long after that, she became a lesbian. So we assumed that like we broke her so
Oh, then
bad
she might have been gay.
that it's just kind of.
She
But,
just
yeah,
wasn't
I
into
don't-
that.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Well, if she's gay, I understand. I wouldn't be into that either. You know,
Right.
a bunch of, if I'm working a drive-through, a bunch of dicks, just like I'm just
But
like,
she wasn't.
I'm not sucking
Yeah,
on
I'm
it
gonna hit
because
the
I'm
gas
not
pedal
gay.
pretty hard if that happens to me.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, just imagine that though. Like, you're trying to order your Taco Bell, and like you're just seeing like sausage sandwiches everywhere. Like, that's just, it's like
Sausage quesadilla.
yeah.
That even happens.
And you just sit there, and you just look at them, and they're like,
Right.
if they're out of Diablo sauce, we got some. It might need to work to get it out, but we got some Diablo sauce.
Yeah, because
Like,
that bastard stole it all.
Yeah. We smuggled this Diablo sauce into here, and of course, if you joined us on the pre-show, you know what we're talking about.
Bastard.
Yeah, I mean, it might have kind of a little bit of an ass whiff to the package, if the package doesn't open itself. But hey, we have the Diablo sauce, and I can see Steve's neighbor through the fence. Shout out to Steve's neighbor, who probably has no idea what the fuck's happening right now.
There's wires hanging out the window.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
They got a dog.
Zuckerberg
fight. We got
knows
a neighbor.
all. Lizard man.
Wait till
Who
you
will
get that
ban us from Facebook
strip-
eventually?
Get that strip pole put in.
Oh,
Are
dude.
you
You know how many?
I'm coming.
Matt's
Even
coming
when we're
right
not
now.
broadcasting,
Matt just
I'm
said
coming.
I'm coming, so he's coming
Right.
right now, like that. Yeah.
If you build it, I will come. That's just all I'm saying.
Oh.
And I'm already thinking of all the places you could put it.
Yeah.
And what we'll probably do is we'll probably go another 15 minutes or so to make it an even 2 hours for all you guys here on Facebook Live. But yeah, shout out again to Steve. Thank you, man, for letting us come out
You know
to
that
your
everyone
yard bar.
should actually come.
And
come here.
well, yeah, that's the thing.
We
Like
could
now,
make this
we
a
should
thing.
open this up as a legit bar. Like
Yeah.
we can make this into a speaker. Steve's like, no, I
He
don't
said,
want to do. Like,
I don't know
yeah.
if I have the capacity.
You see some of the parties here, you're like, I'm running around like a crazy person like, trying to take care of everything. It
I
gets
know.
crowded.
No, it sucks being the host.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm
This
just gonna
is,
say
this
thanks.
is on the down low tonight. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
this
on a
is.
download until a bunch of people show up and they're like, "Can I see your bathroom?" Like that. We heard about your bathroom on the Happy Hour
Women gotta
podcast.
go
How
to the
that-
bathroom,
yeah.
so it's
has a woman used that bathroom?
no.
I
No, they look
I-
in there and they think,
here's
and they're
the
like,
thing
nope.
though. In my partying days, I've had female friends that would have totally abused that bathroom.
Oh yeah.
I've seen them use the men's room at the Barn and Carney before it was Das Beer Hall. I've
Right.
seen them pee on floors.
If
I've
they-
actually seen one of them
If
pee
they
in a.
can do it,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, put it this way. And this is exclusive for YouTube. This is one of the kind of peeling back the curtain type things. One of the stories that I normally don't talk about. But there was a time we went to what the hell was that weird bar in the city? It was I forgot what the hell it was called, but people would go there and they would wear like gas masks and shit. Like, well, Orpheus.
Club Orpheus.
Yes, Club
I used to go there
Orpheus.
all the time.
And people would go there and wear like gas masks. And we went to Orpheus. And one of my friends, they had test tube shots.
Yeah,
So what
yeah,
she
yeah.
did is she pissed in the test tube shot
Right.
and she handed it to her dude.
No.
And this was a joke. Like we were literally
Right.
laughing about this off in a corner somewhere. She hands it to him. She's like, "If you love me, you'll drink this." And so we're sitting there giggling in the background and all that because we know he's not going to do it or whatever and all that. And we just see him
Things have
take
gotten
a
little
big.
weird.
Shut up.
saying.
We see him take a big like a big gasp. And we just see him do the test tube shot. We're all like, oh, like the whole bar. Like at this point, the whole bar knows everything.
Yeah, dude.
I have
And then-
literally
and then,
just
like-
spilled
like,
beer
we-
all
we-
over my
We
face.
look at him. We look at him, and she's like, "Dude, I was joking."
Right.
But Jesus Christ, they're no longer together. But
Right.
I mean, that's the
Well,
thing.
yeah,
like,
this is
that-
where
that-
we're there,
For
too.
obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
What
You know, I
what
used
was the straw that broke the camel's back?
I've done a few body painting events at
Yeah.
Club Orpheus.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is Orpheus still open?
No, it's
Okay.
gone.
Okay. Yeah.
They,
Because
they got handed over, and there was another group, and then it just everybody was
one of my good
like,
places,
redo
of course,
that.
everybody local who may be watching, locally, was the Black Hole. The Black Hole was cool down in Dundalk. It used to be the zoo.
Never
It
been
was the
there.
zoo, then it was the Black Hole, and then it got raided by the
ETF.
ATF because they were selling drugs and shit out of there,
That could-
and it
that
closed
could-
up.
I was
Yeah,
joking.
no, it got
Holy
raided
shit.
because the owner was like selling drugs and shit out of there, like
Holy
cocaine and
fuck
shit.
me.
And
God, I love Baltimore.
so it got rated.
I spilled my beer all over my phone.
So
I'm
wait,
sorry.
so wait, you spilled your beer. So are you rubbing it into the wood? Like I don't understand. Like
I'm fucking just
yeah.
trying to get
We're
it off
never
of here.
invited here again. Like Steve's like,
That's all
God
right.
damn it, I invite these assholes. Yeah. Steve's like, let me move the books. Like
Well,
let me
I
move the
actually-
money
I
makers.
already
Like,
moved
that's-
them, so
yeah.
that wouldn't happen. I'm just, so it doesn't.
And of course,
stay in
actually,
the
let me
wood.
see the books there. And of course, we promoted it on the. Make sure you pick up Persistence of the Damned and A Serpent's Love. And of course, Steve wasn't out here earlier. Steve, Persistence of the Damned is currently available now, correct?
It'll be out in the next day or two.
Okay, so it will be out
There's a slight
within
delay
a
in
week
the
or so.
publishing.
Slight delay. Make sure you look at Persistence of the Damned. Dave Gilbert is one hell of a guy, one hell of an author. And of course, make sure you pick up his current book, A Serpent's Love, which is out right now. So make sure you pick that up. And of course, look at that beautiful artwork. Look at that raccoon with the red eyes that's about to fuck that head that's coming out of the water. Of course, if you want anything,
I'm just
you
saying,
know,
it should have
done
been a
artwork-wise,
seagull, but you know.
make sure you reach
Well-
out. Steve Freeman on Facebook,
Yes,
Style
absolutely.
Master Steve on
He does
Instagram
all our fucking
and
shirts.
Twitter. He
I
does
mean,
all that amazing shirt that we have that you better buy, or else I'm going to come and bring a squadron of seagulls with me, and I'm going to open your front door, and they're going to rip you limb from limb.
like,
Make sure you buy,
honestly, I
you know,
saw that
Return of the
and-
Drunken Dead shirts, and you know that's
Thank you.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I'll be honest.
And-
I normally don't buy too much, even in my own fucking shit.
yeah.
But I saw that artistical work, and not saying just because my fucking face was right there. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's really phenomenal artwork. I couldn't have been more pleased.
Yeah, and I mean that it's amazing, Steve. As I said, you know, the stuff that you do and the stuff that you do for us. You know, I know you dating back to the happy hour
Back to
TV.
the warehouse.
Yeah,
Back
you
when it
know,
was body paint.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
went out there and covered it, and actually, I dug up that footage. That
Oh,
footage,
shit.
I have that footage.
Oh,
And
Lord.
that may be on one of our fully fermented monthly episodes,
Oh,
that where I unveil that footage.
I
Of
don't
course,
know.
make sure you check out our.
Are you still
current-
doing body paint? Because
I
I could.
haven't done it in about a year or two.
Has anybody ever asked you to paint their penis of like some sort
Yes. Well,
like-
there was a thing called NIMPAR.
of? Okay.
It's called Nudes in Nature.
Okay.
So I would get invited to that. I'll go there as a body painter. And
I want my dick to look just like a
it-
seagull.
Oh, giant farm and campsite, and everyone's running around naked. I mean,
Oh.
women,
Oh.
men,
Look,
everyone was
okay.
naked.
We're gonna have to cut it because
All right, look.
We
we're-
need that on an
next
episode.
week we are
we
airing
need to get
live
that on an episode.
from this place.
just for that
Yeah.
period.
And it's all photographers and models. So it's,
Okay.
everything was nude modeling, artistic stuff. So I would do some body painting there. And then there was one guy that's like, hey, with you? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'll do from the waist up. And I'm doing like a zombie thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just really felt weird about it. There's a lot of body painting.
Can you paint my ass? It
Right.
look like a taco, and my cheeks are the meat.
I've seen
And
his
you
work.
spray,
I'm sure he can.
but he has you painted to the point
look
to
like
where.
the Harbor Tunnel.
Yeah. When you open the cheeks, there's lettuce. That's the thing. You open it, you see the
Right.
meat, but you open the cheeks and there's lettuce. There's just little painted on lettuce right there.
Right.
But no, we went out to their graffiti warehouse. Some of the body paint you did, man, was awesome. Like
Yeah.
literally, like you know,
You should make it
A separate episode on that. Holy shit, Steve! I did really not know that. You did. I know you did.
There was
artwork
one
with-
time at the warehouse, this guy hires me for a one-on-one body painting thing with a model, right? I'm not going to mention her name. I'm not going to mention
Oh,
the
see, I thought it
photographer.
was gonna get weird because you said a one-on-one body painting thing, and I thought he was gonna say hire you for a one-on-one with the model, and then you get there and he's completely naked in his
Yeah,
house,
right.
and you walk in and you're like, dude, this isn't what we agreed to, and he's like, I said one-on-one, like you know, she's later on, like that's.
I get hired to paint this girl as Spider-Man Venom.
Okay.
I did her once
Yeah,
before at
yeah.
another
That's pretty
event,
recent.
and she's really hot. Right?
Yeah.
This girl's really hot, nice body, everything. And, so I'm doing a whole Spider-Man Venom thing, and then she comes down and she goes, he wants you to do the Venom thing around my vagina all the way down, and I'm like, are you sure? She goes, yeah, I'm cool with that. I said, all right. So then she's sitting there like gynecology style.
And
I'm
meanwhile,
painting with a brush.
Steve's painting, and he's like, I haven't eaten today.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm licking my lips. I'm like,
And I'll be honest with you, everything I've ever done as far as body painting, I did it from perspective like a doctor doing something for someone. I didn't look at him as like,
That is so awesome.
you have to, because you gotta actually be.
Well, I know I'm not because I'm not artistically. I can't do that stuff.
The weird thing was, it was kind of like after I did the Spider-Man Venom symbol around her vagina, which was fine. I did.
You
it. And
masturbated vigorously when you went home.
then she went upstairs to the studio, and I went up there to check to see what was going on. And then she's up there like spread eagle. He's got a camera like 2 inches away, and he's taking photos.
I
And
got
was
it.
like, this is just weird.
I got it. Was she that? If she's one of those girls that's a squirter, at that point, it makes it look like Venom shooting his webbing. Like it's just kind of like, shoo. Like Steve's like, why did I open my goddamn mouth? Like,
do it again. Do it again.
fling that webbing here.
Most of my friends know that story. Anyway, so.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for being a sport.
We
because
really should actually have
that-
Steve exclusively on one of our episodes.
Yes, we sure will. And of course, we do.
About all the wild
Yeah, we do the bonus
paintings,
episodes, and
body paintings that he's done. That's pretty wild.
I'm sure Steve has seen some crazy things or asked for some crazy things to be
I grew
done.
up in West Baltimore. I started as a graffiti artist, I'm painting trains, I'm doing all kind of stuff. I just worked my way up
Yeah.
every little step that I could. You know what I mean? It's been a rough ride, but I get there. You know what I mean?
And well, your artwork on their show is impeccable.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Couldn't have
Like
asked
that-
couldn't have asked
That's
for a better
the best
artist.
decision we ever made for
Yes.
the actual logo stuff was. I messaged Steve and I was like, hey, the guy I'm using, he's just not getting the job done. I mean, yeah, he had a lot going on, and honestly, he was just learning himself.
I run up the deadlines
too. But I mean, that's the thing, But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to conclude our YouTube broadcast. So,
Our
ladies and
first
gentlemen,
YouTube
yes, of
broadcast.
course, we are going to be back live next Friday, which is the 15th. Half an hour before, of course, we're going to be airing on. Our guest will be joining us at 8:00 p.m. Eastern, 5:00 p.m. Pacific, which is Bill Hartley, who's a local ghost hunter. He was also on Ghost of Shepherdstown. He will be joining us then. We will be airing live on YouTube at 7:30 for the pregame show, and then, of course, we will be coming for the after party afterwards, just like how we did today. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Happy Hour podcast. Thank you for, commenting online, and we will see you guys next time right here live on Facebook, not on YouTube, not in Lizard Connolly, but right here on YouTube live. All right, cool. So the stream is done.